Saludos y bienvenidos everybody to the PGP podcast. Hey everybody, Josh Stewart, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, SD Garland, USA, ready to rock and roll with you on show 100 straight live shows now, 101 without stopping, 101 consecutive Sundays on fire with everybody out there. Hey, like I said, Josh Stewart, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garden SD Garden, USA. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Yet another rock star show from a little bit of a different angle for four head football coaches that won state in the highest division in their state. And let me tell you, you need leadership, patience, and a lot of love for what you do to ensure that you reach that point. But we'll get to our awesome panel in a little bit. Thank you for being here. Please make sure that you like and share the show. But most importantly, thank you for giving us some of your time, because either you're going to watch it on the live show or on the rebroadcast. Please like and share it. Spread out the love. Hey, who has ever put together all of this type of talent? We're not a niche show. We're not about just leadership. We're not just about teaching strategies. We have everything, a whole fancy word of the day, plethora of ideas coming out. Oh, fancy word of the day, cuidado. But don't ever forget that we're part of the Fantastic Four Network. Every Saturday, Super Saturday, with Coach Sean Hurt, who hasn't been on live for 2 Saturdays because he's with his son, who's in, City League, playing around the country. And also we have at 10:30, Tammy and Shika talk about culture, racing your school climate, 3-letter grades in 1 year. You want to know how to do that? Reach out to them. And the man, El Jefe, Principal Baruti Kafele, part of that network that we have. And we are the close hitters at the very end, swinging that awesome home run as we start off a new week of success, a new week of wins. So don't forget to like right now, ahorita, like and share. Do it. Don't forget, it takes like 100th of a second. And also go into our YouTube, like it and share it. So future people that are not on social media, they're not on X, they're not on Facebook, there's some of them that they could watch, they can see these shows. So make sure that you follow us and be on it. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're a bus driver, we could get you on the show. If you are a superintendent, we'll get you on the show. If you're a head football coach, we'll get you on the show. Whatever it is, because we all bring something to the table. Everyone is a valued member of this team that's known education, and it has a great passion, a great heart, just like Dr. Mari Moreno. Moreno, ¿cómo estás?
Hey, Josh, I'm having a great day. It's raining outside. It's kind of a little sticky, you just want to crawl in the bed and just kind of just relax. But you know what? I'm here with you, Josh. I'm having a good time. I'm in Houston, Texas. You can tell from my spiders that are up on my walls and my ceiling all year round, not just during Halloween, but all the time, because I just like to live in the jungle. Talking about jungle, Josh, I just want to let everybody know I will miss everybody next week. I will not be here. I'm actually going to Peru because I'm going to Machu Picchu, one of my other countries, my 16th country to visit. Super excited. So thank you, Josh, for finding my replacement. I can't say I've been on the show 101 times, but I will tell you I've been there. Whenever I'm here, but I will be here next week in spirit.
Love it. Thank you for being there. And a big shout out to Beam Conference, MPA. We've been on a roll right now. Couple of weeks we presented at North Carolina MLE. Thank you very much for David James. And this past yesterday, we had 3 sessions talking to our DFW area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, on how to support EEB students. A great get-together, a lot of educators, and the way it was put together. Esperanza Hills, great job on that. Thank you very much. Very proud. And 100 shows. We've had countless of superintendents on. We have countless of principals on, countless of assistant principals. The number of teacher roundtables that we've had. Yes. National speakers, national authors. I'm telling you, alumni, former students, people in the community. The mayor of Saxe talked about it. Business owners. Everyone has a part of education. Everyone does, and everyone needs a voice. And it's very important that we hear from their angle, their side of it, on how important it is. And that's why I think I really value the way that we bring this out into the environment, into the educational sphere, and the experiences that everyone has. What do you what are your reflections on 100 shows, Moreno?
Josh, you said it last week. I mean, what is it? 3% make it to this far, right? And so the milestone is incredible. And guess what? It's only the tip of the iceberg, because we have many, many more shows and we have much more content. We haven't even kind of broken through. So I'm scratch the surface, buddy. Scratch the surface. I'm super excited, Josh, because you know what? Today is a great example of what we're doing different, right? We're going to get a group of people that we haven't put together, and I'm so excited to hear about what they have to say and the accomplishments they have obtained thus far.
Exactly. Not just anyone. And I'm telling you, I was in a school for 3 years that had not won one football game. Let me tell you that a 6A school had not won one football game. You have no idea what that does for the community. But you know what? We're not going to talk about that. But in other words, the importance and how crucial it is to have the right vision, the right people on the right seat to do that. Man, before we bring in our panel, just a quick Chinchilagua moment. Chinchilagua, I mean, Coach Tom over there in Iowa is like, Chinchilagua, do they sell that in Taco Bell? Or Coach Appling? Coach Appling's like, Chinchilagua, does that go with a side of sauce? No, Chinchilagua is a Mexican game that you get together during the festive times, and you line up against the wall and you yell, Chinchilagua arriba boy, and you create a human pyramid, and everyone's jumping on top of each other, and it's all fun and games until it all comes crashing down. Once your grandma gets on top and everyone falls and grandma breaks her hip, it's all over. The game's over. But it's fun and games. Today's Chinchilagua moment, my thought is this. Hey, guys, it's testing season across America. It's evaluation system time across America. And I know some team members are going to be calling in. I know that. Moreno, you know that. Yes or no? Some team members don't want to be proctoring the exam all week. Yes or no? Coaches, right? They always get the coaches to do the bathroom duty.
They always
do. Coaches, yeah, I know you're nodding your head during testing season. Where's the coach? Oh, he's out there doing bathroom duty. All right. Look, I was a sub for a year and a half. This is my Chinchilagua moment. If you're going to be out, be responsible. Leave lesson plans. Leave the emergency contact number in case of any nonsense, but not like a little spreadsheet or like in font 3. Leave a post-it note with tape on your TV screen where you take attendance or whatever you do to tell, hey, substitute teacher, thank you for being here. This is who you contact in case of this. You know that all of a sudden, when you're absent, all your scholars have to go to the nurse.
Yes.
They all have to go to the nurse, and then they're all roaming around the hallway, and then the assistant principal brings it back to the poor sub. The sub didn't know, because a lot of times the day before the sub was at an elementary, the next day they're at the high school, the other day they're at a specialty school. So they're, and I'm using this as a clinical term, they're ignorant of the layout of your campus unless they're a regular. So be courteous, be respectful, and then tell the sub who to call in the neighborhood.
Yes.
So in your hallway, there's always that one varsity teacher. You know what I'm talking. You know the varsity teacher in the hallway that knows everything, that knows how many principals there's been there. They know the history of the school. They laid the concrete on the floor. They know that. Tell them who that teacher is in case of a fire drill. Oh my God, how many times have you had subs and they don't know what to do during fire drills? Or whenever, kids are vaping, yes or no? Coaches, are kids vaping? And they set off the alarms, and you got a substitute that's never been there. And where do they take the kids? What do the kids do? And especially if you're in high school, they just leave everywhere. They just walk away. And then when they come back, the assistant principal is bringing back Josh and Mari because they were screwing around. Yes or no? Yes or no? Call me a liar. Someone please call me a liar. I'm not. Take care of your subs. That way in the future, if you do have a lot of vacancies, like at a 6A school, during track season, yes or no, coaches? During track season, you have like 7,000 subs because everyone's out. So please make sure that you take care of them. Let them know where the bathrooms are. Let them know where the teacher's lounge. If they bring in their own food, let them know where the microwave is, because they're just walking around trying to find a microwave. Take care of them, because whenever you have a high outage of people, you're going to
Mhm.
need subs. And if your school sucks and it's not taking care of them, they will never sign up to go there. Take care of those subs. Thoughts,
Mhm.
Moreno?
Josh, you hit it right there. And you know what? One thing I would definitely say is I know this sounds overwhelming, but start with a little binder and start putting little things in there so that you can remember what to add in there. Because last thing you need is for someone not to take care of your class. And then you have this rotating person, or they have to split up your classes, and then they're putting them in other people's classrooms, and now you have a class of 50 because there's no subs. And so, you don't want to do that to your colleagues either. So, subs are very hard to find. And
Exactly.
sometimes we don't have any subs. We're just looking for a warm body. And I don't know, Josh, did you see that TEA ruling that just came out that now TEA substitutes now have to be certified?
Moreno, we don't need to hear that before testing week. Moreno, we don't want to hear that, okay?
I
You
saw
hear that.
that. I saw that and I was like, what? How?
Uh,
Where? Josh, that's another podcast in itself. But
yeah.
just to close out this Chinchilagua moment, just please take care of your subs. Put a little thank you, little card, little something saying thank you for being here. We value you. And if you do that, I promise you it will go a long way. Subs will actually request to be in your room.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So true. And without further ado, the generals, los generales from their state, marching in with their soldiers to the field and bringing home that trophy, ese amor, ese campeonato a la familia, to the campus with that pride. Man, when I was researching these guys and I saw all those pictures on Google, you saw the love, but you saw the ganas, las puras ganas. Love it. Gentlemen, thank you for being here on the PGP podcast. Moreno, stick.
Super excited to be here, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being on the 101th PGP show. I am excited because today we're getting a new group of people that are going to be talking about championships. So, today, guys, we're talking about all my folks out in the virtual world. Today, we're talking about something very important, very great, something that we need to have in all of our schools, right? Which is a state of champion state of mind, right? We need to have an awesome state of mind to make sure our kids are thriving. So we're going to talk about what does it take to build it, what does it look like behind the scenes, and how do great coaches like you guys here lead young people to something bigger than just that scoreboard, because that's what we're doing, right? So we're going to start off with Coach Wilson. Coach Wilson, this is everybody's question, but we're going to start off with you, sir. Every great coach has an origin story. Take us back to the beginning and walk our audience through the different roles you've served in education that led you to where you are today.
Okay, very good. Thank you for having me and us on. Appreciate it a lot. Just like everybody, as you mentioned, all of us have a story, and mine really started once I graduated from college and got my first job. And my first job out of the chute was a head coaching position, believe it or not, in small town Iowa, very small school. English Valley was the name of it. So I took the job at 21 and coached my first game when I was 22. Really had no business being a head coach at that time. Really, what you do at that point in time is, do what you either did in college or high school, and then you sink or swim from there. Then went to another school in the state of Iowa, elementary school teacher. So I wasn't in the building. Elementary school teacher, head football coach. Went to Wilton, Iowa. And then after 2 years there, really got fortunate, became a graduate assistant at Ball State University. Was there for 2 years. Great experience, around a lot of great men. And we had a lot of success there. got married just before we went out to Indiana. Decided to come back to the state of Iowa after those 2 years, and got back into the elementary classroom, and head football coaches at Dyke New Hartford, which is Cedar Falls, Waterloo area, for those that are familiar with the Midwest. Spent 8 years there. A lot of fun. Had our share of success. Then interviewed for Dowling Catholic position, which is a private school in Des Moines with 1,400 plus students, 9 through 12. We play in the largest classification in the state of Iowa. Was hired to do our strength and conditioning and be the head football coach. And then I've been here for the last 21 years.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And the fact that you started at age 21. Wow. That's incredible. So kudos to you, sir. We're going to continue to learn a little bit more from you as we go through the podcast. So we're going to go down to Coach Hummel. How about you? Tell us your origin story. Tell us, kind of take us back to the beginning and walk us through your journey.
Yeah, thanks for having me as well. I actually grew up in a small town, North Dakota, so probably fairly familiar with that. School and played some college football, and then actually got my first experience, believe it or not, when I was student teaching. I was a head 7th grade girls basketball coach. That was my first ever coaching experience, and that was and that was an experience. Let me just tell you that dealing with young junior high girls after playing college football was a lot different experience. And then from there, taught a really small school, and then moved to a bigger school a year later, Jamestown, North Dakota, and coached some junior high football there and high school girls basketball as well. Throughout the years in North Dakota, coached several sports. A few years was head track coach. I was a varsity assistant football coach. Then moved out to Reno, Nevada back in the fall 2015. Started coaching at Spanish Springs High School in 2016. Became the head coach in 2019. So, our path led us to Reno back like I said, in fall of 2015. I was definitely an adjustment in the Midwest there for 32 years. And out to Northern Nevada was a bit of a culture shock, not too bad, but it's been good for our family, our community, and the school that we're at here. So yeah, that's where we're at with my coaching experience as of this point.
Awesome. You said you played football in college?
I did, yeah.
Did you play football in
University of Jamestown.
Where?
And yes.
In Jamestown.
University
Cool. Awesome.
of Jamestown in North Dakota. Yeah.
In North Dakota. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's go down to Coach Mathis. Tell us your journey, sir.
Well, again, appreciate you guys having us on here. It's always an honor to be on here. You guys have done a great job. Heard a lot about you, especially how you guys support our teachers and our around the state of Texas, man. That's awesome, as well as our administrators. But I started off from a small town in Bartlett, Class 1A. Went to college at Southwest Texas State, known as Texas State now, but Southwest Texas State.
Bobcats.
Yeah, always. From there, I played football, of course. Signed as a free agent with the Minnesota Vikings. Was hurt and fell back on my degree with my mentor, Coach Gregory, which is Trent Gregory, was at Austin Anderson, and he hired me. And from there, I was a coordinator there at Austin Anderson, then went to Somerville, another small school, and then went to Austin LBJ. And from there, I went to DeSoto. And I've been at DeSoto ever since. So I love teaching special ed kids, and that's what I started off with, my minor. And, from there, it's been here. Also, for my mistake, I went to SMU, University of Houston, for a little bit too, as well as SMU, as well as Marshall, Texas, which is a great town. And then I ended back at DeSoto. So hopped around just a little bit, but been here at DeSoto for a long time.
Awesome. And we're going to hear all the wonderful things that are happening in DeSoto shortly. And last but not least, Coach Applin, tell me where you are and tell me your journey, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm kind of in a weird situation right here at an event, and like yacht rock music playing in the background and everything like that. But we try to keep it as quick as I can and not let the party get going around me. But yeah, my background is, played at Lithonia High School, which is here in Georgia, and went to Lehigh University, played up there in Pennsylvania. Played 4 years, had a great time, and thought I was going to be a businessman, and left left the football world for 1 year, and then training / helping out of my old high school at Lithonia brought me back. And it was like my second day at practice, and I'm just coming out there to help out, train speed and agility in the weight room and stuff like that. And the coach said, "Hey," he said, you got the defense. And I became the defense coordinator my second day. Had no idea, just like Coach Wilson, is like you go back to doing what you did in college and in high school, and just picking through old boxes, finding playbooks and stuff like that. But I had the time of my life. We were 6-5, made the playoffs for the first time, and
Wow.
in 10 years, I think it wasn't 10 years since my brother was a senior, so about 7 years or whatever. And I was hooked then. So, started actually as a special ed teacher. I was a special ed teacher for 12 years. My first 12 years, 2 years as a para, and 10 years at Buford. And then bounced around, coached a little track, and that was my first head coaching job, kind of like Coach Hummel. My first head coaching job was girls track. And coaching girls give you a different perspective, man. It's a totally different world, man. But I love the fact that they taught me a lot of things. I got a daughter. My oldest kid is a girl, and it taught me a lot for her. But I've been at Buford for 22 years. The last 7 as the head coach. So I've only coached 2 places: Lithonia High School and Buford. So I'm lucky and blessed to just got to a great town and stuck and been the head football coach the last 7, so been in PE the last 10, but started out as a special ed teacher and just love being around kids. So that's what got me.
How wonderful. And I'm telling you, it is amazing. And yes, coaching girls is another level, because I was a head varsity coach for volleyball and basketball. And so trust me, I'm very competitive. And so, oh my goodness, it was a time in my life. So I'm super excited to be amongst all of you today. And I never, ever won the state championship. So you know what? I am honored to be with all of you today. Josh, great panel.
So, Coach Appling, next question is this. Who specifically or what? Some of you walked around it right now. Be specific. Who or what made you become a coach again, to give back to what you did as a high school student, as a college? What made you come back to public education? And part 2 of the question is, how crucial was your parents' support, your mom, your dad, to help you reach this stage of your career?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say my parents' support was huge. I played at Lehigh University, like I said, in Pennsylvania. It's a long drive from Decatur, Georgia. But my parents probably made it to. I played, I want to say 48 games, including playoffs and everything in college, and my parents had to make it to about 30, 35 of them. I would say somewhere in that mix. They made a point to support me, not just in college, everywhere I went. But my mom is a 35-year PE teacher in Atlanta public schools, and she coached track, coached basketball, played basketball, and ran track when she was in high school. So I had the coaching background from her. Her and my dad coached me when I was in a little league, so they were always around, always with us. But I would say they're my first influence as coaches. But I had a coach, I think my sophomore year in college, Coach Joe Bottolari. He was the coolest cat I ever met. You know what I mean? As far as I always thought coaching was just yelling, screaming and, motivating, all that type of. When I met him, I was like, hey, man, you can be a cool dude and coach and get a lot out of it. That's the best I ever played in my life. It was because of the guy that I respected and he brought me along versus forcing me along. And I said, from that point, I felt like I could do it, you know, because I didn't want to be that, you know, I mean, I'm a loud guy. If you ever see me on the field, I am loud. I'm boisterous. I say what I got to say, but he had just a different demeanor when he coached us in college, and it made us go from like one of the worst defenses in the league to, you know, top 10 defense in the nation, you know what I mean, type deal. So he was my main influence as far as coaching.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts, and I'm sure your coach loves those words if he hears it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us.
You know, I'm really fortunate to have a lot of good mentors in my life. And the biggest one would have been Larry Andrew, who was my high school football coach. Ironically enough, I ended up marrying his daughter, and you know that kept things interesting. But he was a big influence on me. Kind of took me under his wing when I was a junior high school student athlete. Became a mentor to me, and you know, I described that first job that I took when I probably had no business doing it. He was one of them that really pushed me to take the plunge, to not be afraid of to taking the risk, and that was a big part for me that got my career started. And you know, obviously, my parents' support has meant the world to me through the years. My parents were divorced when I was 2 years old, and you know, they still both had a big impact on my life, and continue to. And but the support has always been there. But like I said, many mentors, many of them in education, teachers, other coaches, were fantastic for me.
Thank you for sharing those beautiful words right there. People hear that ad and they get that little flashback right there. Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, back in the Lone Star State, Coach Mathis, talk to us.
Well, you know, with me, it was a village. It always takes a village, and I've had so many great mentors. And by the way, I started out coaching girls track too as well.
Oh my Lord, guys!
I had.
We feel you. Trust us.
But going back to this, you know, coaches, man, my high school coaches meant everything to me. Those were my mentors, and you know, like I said before, Coach Gregory, Trent Gregory, gave me my first job, and he was my our defensive line coach defensive ends and tight ends at Bartlett. And then, of course, you have the great Terry Cron, which is going in the Hall of Fame this year in Texas High School Coaches football, Texas High School football this year. That was the head coach, and Wayne Mahaffey. And you know, I've had so many great coaches to help me on my way, but Coach Gregory is the one that got me started in high school, because him and his wife, Julianne, and his wife was special ed teachers. He was PE and special ed, and she was special ed, and that's how I got involved in special ed. That's how I got involved in teaching, because I wanted to help kids out, and it was the special need kids that I just fell in love with, and continue to help them out while I was there as a student. And so he got me going. And they both attended Texas State as well, which of course Southwest Texas back in the day, but they both attended. And I can't thank them enough. And he got me going. And like I said before, a lot of mentors. It took a village. And my mom and my grandmother, which is my nanny, I called her, and my papa and my uncles, and it took a village. And they stood by me, pointed me on my way, and supported me throughout. Heck, my mom, she lives in DeSoto with me. She's not far. She's probably about less than 3 minutes away from where I live at. She followed me up here, and she's moved everywhere I've went, and she's been awesome. Her Uncle Lester and Uncle Ernest, and I just had some great family support throughout this whole process, and I couldn't have did it without them.
Beautiful words. The mammoth of, I love it. Coach Homo up there in Nevada.
Yeah, so parents definitely supporters. I didn't grow up in a sports family. We were a farming family, like small town North Dakota. I love sports, so my youth coaches that I had at school were kind of the first glimpse of coaching. Coach Steve Midbow was a basketball coach of mine that meant a lot in elementary school. And then the high school, my basketball coach Brent Kleinsasser and my football coach did a lot for me, helped me develop and and see different types of coaching styles and things of that nature. And, when I was student teaching, and then also my initial ball coaching was a guy by the name of Bill Cahill in Jamestown, North Dakota. And I actually just talked to Bill a couple of weeks ago. He's been for several years coaching down there with his son Sean and some big schools down in Georgia. And just cool to connect in the relationships that you have lifelong with a lot of coaches. And I guess if I had to pick one overall, one of my head football coaches in college, Tom Dosh, he was like a second mentor, had a presence about him and leadership quality about him that was just really admiring, and inspired me to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do as far as an educator and as a coach, and how to treat people, I think, more than anything, and to operate with a high level of integrity and character. That's definitely a guy with credit to that. And my parents, I said, were definitely huge supporters. My mom, still is, with all the things that we've been able to accomplish. And my dad passed a couple of years back, but he definitely was also a support. I said we weren't really a sports family until us kids started to grow up and enjoy athletics, and then we became one, and we have been ever since. So
beautiful. Awesome, everybody. Panel rocking and rolling. Awesome. Showing that love that made you who you are right now. But before that love, sending out some love to Don McKeever Jeter from Illinois. Thank you for watching the show right now. John Hurricks here in the Lone Star State. Constance Sherrard from Mississippi. Don Parker from Illinois. Dr. Jones Chunu from Oklahoma. And Joe Griffin from California. Thank you. This is a national show, all learning from top-notch national coaches. Stick, Moreno.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to go to Coach DeSoto up in the here in the Lone Star State of Texas. So, Coach, as the head coach of this program, what vision do you have for your team? Not just athletes. We're talking about the young people that are growing under your leadership.
Always my vision is always for those guys to be successful at the highest level and to make sure they graduate and get their education. Our kids here know our standard is best, and I always want our kids to be the best at everything they do, and they all know that. Our kids right now, when they look at our vision, they understand the rules of engagement, and they understand what it takes in order to have a great vision and to be successful. And that's what we thrive on here, and we're going to continue to thrive on it. Have some great kids, have some great coaches, but our vision is sweet. We know that what the standard is. It's going to always be best. But with me, I'm simple, but at the same time, I expect a lot from our athletes, and want to make sure that they understand and they thrive to be the best they can, and to make sure that they're graduating, but also to be with them here mentally. Anything that they need outside of football, I'm going to always be here for them. And that's part of our vision when it comes to our program and our success here at DeSoto.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Coach Hummel, what about you? Your vision for your athletes, your leader under your leadership, sir.
The sport of football, I think, there's so many life lessons to be learned in our sport that transcended all different parts of life. And our develop of young men into productive members of society, and go on to become husbands, fathers, community members, leaders themselves. I mean, that's a big part of what we talk about day in and day out. The football, to me, is a bonus aspect of it. That's a means of being able to skills, because there's so many things that you can rate football-wise, the skills that we're trying to work on. And the other part is to create a great experience and lifelong memories for the kids, not just, our school, but in our community. And, just blessed to be able to all that for those young men.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Valuable key points there. Coach Appling, how about you? What is your vision for your team under your leadership?
I'm sorry, repeat that. Somebody was talking to me. Say that last part again.
It's okay. It's okay. I said, what vision do you have for your team? Not just these athletes, right? These are growing young men that are growing underneath your leadership. So, what vision do you have for them?
Oh yeah, I mean, just like the other guy said, most coaches are built the same way as far as your vision for these kids goes way beyond what Friday nights are. It goes to what they look like when they're 35, when they have kids and they come back to see you, on the field. What I mean, when they're older and they talk about the lessons they learned from you. You know what I mean? And we always lead off. I lead off almost every meeting with parents or kids talking about our mission and vision. And the key points of those things are we're going to be a program focused on the intentional development of young men into effective citizens. That will be committed to success on and off the field. It's not just about scoring touchdowns. It's about winning in life. Being a great father, being a great husband, being a great citizen one day, and maybe a great coach one day, maybe a great, businessman, whatever it is. And, we deliberately want to create a dynamic environment. And when I say dynamic, I mean ever changing, because these kids are different. I just remember COVID changed these kids a whole lot, and they're still different now than they were, 8 years ago or whatever. So and the people that say they're not different are really lying to themselves, because you can't just continue to screw a square peg into a round hole. It's not going to work with these kids anymore like that. So you just want to try to create a dynamic environment where you be a positive difference in their lives and their community. Like Coach Holmes said, it's like Friday nights is just icing on the cake. It's a blessing. It's kind of, it's all said and done by then, and win is a byproduct of doing all those things right.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just round it out, Coach Wilson. Let's do it. What's your vision, sir?
As Coach Appling said, we're all wired very similar, and we emphasize using football as a tool to develop people and to maximize each kid, no matter what that maximize means. I mean, not everybody's going to be a star player, but we can maximize them, whatever that athletic ability is or whatever they have to offer as a person. Big thing is to provide a platform for them to develop their leadership. As they mentioned, we want our kids to be great fathers, great husbands. We have, fortunately, a great tradition here, and we talk about every team of leaving a legacy and what that legacy is going to look like. And sometimes people immediately think state champions, and that's really not the intentions of it, because those aren't the easiest thing to come by, but it's more the process of what we're going to do in order to maximize us and to help us be successful. And our program is very relational. We get close with our kids, and we understand what makes them tick, but we'll be the first ones to hold them accountable in everything that they do.
Awesome, Josh. Great answers, man. Great answers.
These are the generals, baby, right there.
Yeah.
Organized, forward. Awesome. I love that vision. And most importantly, the key word. Have you noticed that, Moreno? When we have superintendents and on the round table, they all say something similar, just like
Correct.
our state winning. Success breeds success. And you're seeing it here on the screen right now. Robert Homo out of Nevada. Let's get started. We don't need to go into a lot of detail about this, but remember what I said before the show. We're going to break it down into little parts, all right? So this question is, how did your team look like, or what was the community saying, or those nonsense people on the Facebook page? What were they saying before the season, and how did the season go? Let's not go into playoffs. That's the next question, all right? So what were people saying, projecting? How they always, everyone is a super coach, right? Everyone is Bill Parcells. Everyone is Tom Landry. Everyone knows it better than you do. All right. So what was projected before the season, and how did the season go? Go, Coach Homo.
Well, that's a loaded question there, Josh. So our expectations were pretty high. Our program had never won a region or state title leading into this season. So that should kind of give you an idea of what a lot of the local beers are like. When we're doing conditioning, we always do a couple extra feeders as well. We like to say. So, I mean, that was how that kind of how that works usually until you prove it. They kind of got, so we were able to do the things that we set out to do based on sticking to the process that we know is going to work, which was, develop off season and, getting the guys to understand, the team concept from start, what that actually looks like. And had a great group that did a great job each and every week to develop, game plans and things of that nature. And then it came up to the guys to execute those things. And, that became a byproduct of doing all the other things right. And, as the season was going on, people started to believe. We got a couple signature wins. We used a pretty solid out of area schedule, and we had never gone undefeated in those games, and we did. And then locally, there's a 2-time defending state champ locally that we hadn't beat since 2019, and beat them at theirs. And then people really started to believe, and we gained a lot of momentum. And when we started our playoff run, just was something special.
We're not going to
Hold
playoffs.
on, hold that thought. Hold that.
Felt the spirit.
Hold that thought.
Yep.
Don't go to the playoffs yet. All right. So right there, cliffhanger. Let them
Pause.
one more.
Okay.
Hold on.
We won't go to the playoffs yet.
No, not yet. Let them wanting more. All right. Tom, preseason, how did it look? How was the regular season? Don't go into the playoffs.
Yeah, for us, expectations are always high. As I mentioned earlier, this was a very good program before I ever got here, and it was built. And then, we've been at least to the state quarterfinals, 20 out of 21 years here. So the expectations are going to come with that. So I would say top 4, top 5 in the preseason rankings. Like Coach had mentioned, there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. Any of this success doesn't just happen. There's a lot of time and effort and sacrifice. And our kids did that, had a great off season, very unified team. And I think all of us do all we can do to try to develop player-led teams. And I felt like, we had the opportunity with the personalities that we had coming back, although we had holes to fill, that we had a chance to have a very unified team. And preseason went well. Then we play our arch rival in week 1, and they were rated number 1, and we get beat 20-19. So that's how we kick off the season. And then, we started to grow at that point and started to mature. And we, for the state of Iowa, our schedule is as tough as anyone. I think 7 out of our 9 regular season games is a rated team in the top 10. And so, we ran a gauntlet and won the rest of our regular season games. So, by the time we were going to continue on, we were a very confident team.
Love it. So, that first game, Coach. Oh, what a crushing, for everybody. Oh, my Lord. Got it. I've been following this cat for 3 years, man. But you got to tell him, Coach Mathis. You got to tell him how DeSoto started, brother. Let him know the preseason. Man, seeing that guy. Go talk to him. Talk to us.
Yeah, we always play a hard preseason schedule. We really do. And I feel that it has us ready before district play. And I've always done that. And it is part of my vision and part of my tradition that I have, and it makes us better. It really does. So we took our show on the road and flew for the first time ever in the program history with me going out of state. So we got on the plane and we hopped out there. We went to Georgia, Creekside, and lost, which shocked everybody. I mean, we coming in, we're top 3 some polls, top 5 in some polls. in the state of Texas. But I knew we were young. I did. I knew we were young, and I knew we had some guys that need to step up to the plate. And I just knew they have never been in that fire before, in that hot skillet before. And shoots, we jumped it up in Georgia, and true enough, we got beat 70-28. And so it was people online was talking about this must be wrong. This somebody messed up the internet. There is no way DeSoto lost 70-28 to flip the schedule and score. Nobody can believe it. But the year before, we had beat them 70-0. So I knew what I was going into when I got on that plane going to Georgia. I knew they wanted their lick back, and they definitely got their lick back. But they deserved it. They did. They played well, and from there, we went and played a number of the defending state champions, and got beat again. Lost in I think late in the fourth quarter because we had a bad weather delay and everything. And got beat by those guys right there, and I can't remember who else beat us in that time. I think we were 0-3 starting out. I think we were 0-3. I just can't think whoever's beat us. But anyway, started out 0-3 and didn't look good at all. And got into district play, lost to Duncanville, and heck, after the first game, going back to the first game, heck, they said it was the end of an era. They had put us in the casket. The guy put us in the casket online, talking about the end of an era for DeSoto, and I didn't forget that. I didn't forget that at all. I really didn't. And
Wow.
you know, we kept going, and I think we played Waxahachie was one of our biggest games too as well before we got to Duncanville. We were supposed to have lost to them, and we beat them. We beat them pretty bad. And then we played Duncanville and got beat by Duncanville. Anyway, we ended up being a three-way tie for district champs and everything. But our kids fought hard. I mean, they really did through district, and they had to overcome a lot during preseason because, you know, everybody had wrote us off. People that didn't write us off was us, of course, and our true fans. And we stayed the wave, and we wrote the wave, and it was hard. It was difficult. And I always say this. I always tell God, I said, wasn't my team this year. This was your team this year because we went through so much through those first 10 ball games. It wasn't even funny. And, of course, I saved the second half for later.
It's so true. Hey, Coach, I was telling people the same thing. Don't write them off, man. Those are
they wrote us
dogs.
off. They wrote us off big time. Wow,
big dogs always come back.
It was bad. It was really bad. It was really, really bad. I mean, we took it, and the thing about it is we had won state in 22 and 23. And so, you know, it didn't win it in 24, but come back and had a good chance to win this past year. And we lost it again. They weren't hearing that. They weren't trying to hear nothing I said, nothing nobody else has said. But I would end on this. I noticed our fans after that loss, the fans that went with us, the parents that went with us to Georgia, it was nothing like it. Those guys, those parents were celebrating, keeping our kids' heads up, encouraging our kids. And when I saw that walking off that field, I was like, okay, we're gonna be. I knew we was gonna be okay, but just the way they were after the game, how they were encouraging our kids. So I knew they weren't trying to belittle our kids or dog the coaching staff. They were picking everybody else. And when you got people like that, you have some encouragement, especially encouraging kids, you're gonna always have a chance.
Love it. Exactly. There you go, parents. There we go. That's a good one right there. All right. Back to Nevada. Boom. You go into the playoffs and Coach Hummel?
Yeah, so we probably didn't have to play as many playoff games as some of these other guys. Our state, when it gets to playoff times, configured a little bit differently. But locally, we host first round game or a semi game. Played really well, and you know, the guys were playing with a lot of confidence. At that time, that was our 11th win. We hadn't been beat at that. We go to the region championship game. It was the school got to host a region championship game at our place, and we were playing the two-time defending state champs, the team that we had beat early in the regular season time since 2019. And it's probably the most amped up the place was packed. It was an amazing atmosphere. The athletes on our team, they were amped up. The first time we played that other team, their starting quarterback was out. Media, everybody else was, basically saying that that's why the game went the way it did. And the funny thing is when we played them the second time, we actually beat them worse than we did when they didn't have their starting quarterback. The guys played at an extremely high level. Making was just phenomenal, and just brought a championship to the community for the first time ever at the regional level. And then we championship game, or is that too soon? That jump into that one.
Hit it,
Josh.
Close it.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah. So then we got to go play in the Allegiant Stadium down in Las Vegas, which is a beautiful stadium out of Vegas down there. And looking into those stands, huge stadium, and seeing the amount of people from Reno, that 1-hour drive or flight or however they got there to come watch and support. It was cool to see all over there. Our players did not take it lightly, extremely well once again. And, we finished out a season that, I often tell other coaches that if you get a chance to experience a season where you go undefeated in your career, that's special. You get the chance to not only go undefeated, but we didn't trail the entire year in 13 games. We did not trail an opponent. It was just a testament to those young men, and a testament to our coaching staff, and just the belief that they had in themselves, and the unselfish. It's just a fun group of guys. It's a really tough group to see go. We graduated 33 seniors.
Ouch.
And just a tremendous group.
Awesome. Love it. Never trailed, won it all. Stake that flag, baby. There we go. Awesome. Tom, finish it, Tom. Finish it. Playoff. Championship. Go.
Yeah, we in the state of Iowa, you get 4 playoff games, and we had a rematch in round 1 of one of our district opponents, and we'd beaten them handily the first time on our homecoming, and as a coach, you always worry about that, of what your mindset is going to be. But honestly, I mentioned player-led teams, and I thought our kids had matured and had a goal and that legacy that we talk about that they wanted to leave. And so we won handily in round 1, and then round 2 played a very talented team from Iowa City West, number 1 scoring offense in the state of Iowa, and several D1 players, which we felt was going to be a challenge. And I thought our kids played very well, handled everything very, very well. We ended up shutting that offense out, and our kids played very, very well in the state quarterfinals, which led us to the state semifinals. The semifinals and the state championships are played in the Unidome, which is at the University of Northern Iowa. Great situation with the weather in the state of Iowa. And our rematch was against that week 1 opponent. And so we played them in the state semifinals, back and forth game like they always are. So many times whoever wins the regular season game doesn't win the playoff game. And we ended up getting out of there scoring fairly late, then having a defensive stop really late in the ball game and deep in our own territory to win 14-10. And then played the state championship a week later against Iowa City Liberty. Very well coached team, a team that we had seen in our team camp that we go to in preseason, and we somebody that we certainly respected, and I think we played about as well as we could play. Won the state championship handily, and I've mentioned the legacy part. I think if you listen to our kids talk at the end of the game, They were talking about that legacy and what it means and the process to get there. And, it's we've been fortunate enough to win some championships, but this group hadn't. And to get these kids to be able to experience that, it's hard. And for them to experience that and understand the fruits of their labor as a coach that's been at it for a while is very satisfying.
Nice. And no one likes to be the homecoming game, Tom. You made them the homecoming game. I got you. Thank you for sharing that awesome story. Where is that flag, Coach Mathis? Playoff time, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Going back, we started 0-2. We almost went 0-3, but we started at 0-2. So get through district play. And we felt going into the playoffs, it was one team that we had that had changed us a little bit because we had got beat by them the year before. And I just felt that we had the team to go back to back, but it didn't happen. I did something wrong, and I know what I did. NIL has changed a lot of stuff. It really had. And, we did an early signing, which we don't ever do an early signing until February, but we did it in December. And, I think that kind of affected us. So we got to be pretty bad about this team. So we finally get in the playoffs, and we faced them, I want to say probably third round. Second round, I think it's third round. We played them. Second round, we played them, and it was Longview. That was a team that had destroyed us the year before, and that doesn't happen to DeSoto. And all year long, that's all we worked on. They totally. We know we were physical, but we became more physical. I know we were mentally tough, but we became more mentally tough. I know that we can score, but we started scoring even more. We started making even more stops on defense because, again, we're young on defense. But this team that I had this year, God, it wasn't my most talented team ever at DeSoto because they didn't know how to play together as a team. Mm-hmm. And so we played Longview in the second round. They became a team when we beat Longview. And when I tell you they became a team, I mean, it was unbelievable the way they played. I knew they could play that way. And it finally started clicking. And from there, we ended up going to the state championship game. I mean, we played CC King up in Houston, out of Houston, and we played them at Cowboy Stadium. And, before that, we had to play South Lake Carroll. And it came down to a goal line stance against South Lake Carroll. For us, I mean, everybody kept saying we weren't going to beat South Lake. We had beat them before, and they were good. They were the best team. They were the best team in the state of Texas, they were saying. But, our kids understood who we are. They know our tradition. They know who we are. They know who we're about. And DeSoto just don't give wins away. And so, especially when we get to the semifinals, that's something that we know we got to knock that door down. And we knocked that door down. I mean, it's one of the best games in high school. One of the best games I think probably the best game I've ever been a part of when it comes to, making another goal line stands. We've done that before, but the atmosphere was unbelievable that game. I mean, it was Texas high school football at its best, and it proved every bit of it. I can tell you that right there. So we beat them and go to state, and we win 55-27. Couldn't be more proud of our kids. Unbelievable staff. Gosh almighty, it was a great year. We had been through so much as a team. It showed at the very end how our kids reacted. They were very emotional after the game. They were so happy after the game. My coaches were too as well, because we had been through so much, and it paid off. But being a part of that right there and winning another state championship was a blessing. It was wonderful, but it's nothing like it, man. So we enjoyed it. We've won 10 straight from there. And we got to continue to keep that going. But our kids did a great job, my staff, by winning state. They really did. Great job through the whole year.
Generalship right there across the board. Iowa, Georgia, Nevada, Texas, all the way. Like and share it. If these stories did not motivate you out there, you're dead. You don't got a pulse. And I even text Coach Mathis, what size have your dragon boots? I love him. I tell you, after you made some of them dragon boots from South Lake Carroll, I know he was wearing them nice and proud, baby. Moreno, sick.
Coach Wilson, we're going to go with you, sir. Coach Mathis hinted it a little bit, so we're going to give him a little break so he can start thinking about one, because he had a lot of challenges over there. So we'll start off with you. What was one major obstacle that you faced this year, whether it was a student athlete or a parent or even a community member or something happened in the community? But how did you navigate that?
Well, unfortunately, all of us have to deal with injuries, and that was probably the biggest one for us in that we had played great defense really all year, and we tackler, I think it was like week 5, week 6, to an ACL, and really it becomes the mindset of your team at that point in time. We weren't going to replace him on the field, but then we had a player that we moved from one of our safety positions down to linebacker and inserted another player in. And honestly, those two guys deserve an awful lot of credit for the success that we had, and really the rest of the team to rally around our player that was injured. And a lot of times we have to overcome these, but when your players understand that, you know, this is a challenge that we have to survive, and we have to do it together. And really, I felt our team did that and played very strong the rest of the year. Although we would have been awfully good with that kid that got hurt too. So I was just pleased how we handled it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Those are always our challenges. Let's go with Coach Hummel. How about you? What's one? I know there's many to talk about, but one challenge that you had to overcome this year.
I had a very similar one to Coach Wilson was just explaining. Had a linebacker who was he was Northern Nevada Defensive Player of the Year as a junior. He was about 40 tackles away from breaking the state all-time record in tackles.
Wow!
And at a showcase leading his senior year, he tore his Achilles tendon, and we knew we lost him for the year. Kind of thing. I mean, the resiliency that our show and the guys that rallied and stepped up, and also a testament to the young man, because, you know, it was devastating for him, and it threw a wrench in his recruiting and a lot of different things. He never wavered. You know, it was really hard on him, but he basically became like a assistant for us. We had him in the box on the headset, and he helped out in practice, and he got involved in a lot of different ways. So, you know, we turned really a challenging situation into a positive. And the cool part was the silver lining. The cool thing is his physical therapist. His physical therapist wrote me a letter at the end of the season and said that he will to do a kneel down. So that's what he got. That's what he got cleared to do. So that young man got to be out there for a victory in the region championship and in the state championship game for us in full gear. So it was special. He's a special young man.
Yeah.
Looking for great things from his rehab is going really well, and he's going to be playing college ball and doing a lot of great things. So that was one of our biggest obstacles this season.
A positive ending. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Coach Mathis. Okay, what happened? Tell us, because you were all over the place, sir. One challenge, just one.
Yeah, we had a bunch of challenges this year, but it's two of them that really stuck out. I'm gonna be very brief. One of them, when it came to me and my position my title that I had at DeSoto, it was some rough patches, especially when you know things need to be done a certain way and things need to be done right. And, you know, it's support is big for me. Support is really big for me. But, you know, my coaches, they knew what was going on. and they helped me get through it. They did. They buckled down, man. And when I tell you, we became even closer, we did. But the main thing that we had to overcome this year from our football team, when it comes to our players and the football team itself, was they didn't like each other. They didn't like each other. We do certain things throughout the year to bring us close as a team. And I know we do it on purpose because I can tell how close we're going to be, what's going to be some problems, what's going to be some great things that's going to be happening during the year. What do I need to fix? And Summer 707 really went to SQTs down there in College Station. It showed me what we had to fix, and they didn't. But they forgot one thing. They had to respect one another. That's what they forgot. And we fixed it. We fixed it. It was hard, but they fixed it. They had to understand the tradition that we had at DeSoto. So what legacy are you going to leave? Are you going to live the legacy where you don't get into the playoffs because that's how bad we were? Or are you going to leave the legacy that's been the standard at DeSoto, that's be the best? And they did that. They did it. They grew up. They grew up a lot, but we didn't waver. That's one thing we did not. It was a lot of moments that I could have looked the other way. There was a lot of moments I could have let the little bitty things go, and I didn't. We didn't. We didn't waver. And kudos goes out to my players and my staff for believing, because we had a lot of kids that didn't believe. They just didn't believe in it. We had won 2 state championships. They still weren't believing in. Just young, inexperienced, and they stayed in there with us. We stayed in there with them, and the results of them was them becoming a team and them becoming and liking each other and doing it with the experience of some of the bad things that we did. But overall, they overcame it. They really did.
Oh my goodness, what a great story and a great ending, right? To all of these different things that were happening, and such a great opportunity for all of them. Josh, this is awesome. I love it.
Very cool. Shout out to Jefe out in New Jersey, Principal Cafele. Thank you for being here tonight. Jefe, you're going to like the show. You're probably watching the New Jersey Nets or Knicks, but hey, you got to check this out. 4 state champions right here, 4 generals on the call, Jefe. So let's go into this. Let's start off with Robert. And you don't need to elaborate a lot, just off your experience, obviously being at the top of the food chain right now, for lack of a better term. You're able to see the big picture in regards to the community, the business community, the campus feel. You get to see a lot because people that never talk to you and never send hi to you, all of a sudden everyone's a friend right now. Everyone loves you right now, as Billy Squire used to say. Everybody wants you right now. So what advice would you give? Because you don't have that voice when you don't have a successful program. I told you, I was in charge of a high school that had not won a football game in 3 years plus. You understand how much that sucks? And I used to tell the football coach, you and I, principal and head football coach, we're tied at the hip, baby, in Texas. We're literally tied at the hip. And however you go, I go, and how I go, you go, brother. So we need to make sure that we're together, man. I'm telling you. And being 0-7,000 is not a good feeling. So those are the kind of conversations I have to have. You know, you just got to be honest, because that's also a man's livelihood. He's also a grown-ass man with a father, grandfather. You got to be able to have those conversations with people, because you know what? Leadership is leadership, and it doesn't matter how you get there. So now under your reign, under your championship, now that you've seen everything out there, I ask you, Robert, what advice would you give to the surrounding community? It doesn't matter who. It's not targeted to administration, to parents, to the business. What would you say in regards to supporting all athletics? Because all of you coach girls middle school, that means that for sure you're guaranteed a place in heaven. But besides that, I'm just letting you know that, you know, sometimes you do have a bully pulpit, and right now you have a strong one. What would you say? What would you say in regards to advice for people, for athletics?
That's a great question. I would say that, you know, after winning a state title, you know, you're right. I mean, the people recognize you. We had sponsors come out of nowhere, things of that nature. The thing is, the community support is needed even more so not having as much. I truly believe that. I think that when you know that the community behind you and that they're backing you and that they believe in your vision, as we talked about earlier, and things that you stand for, and then you got to get to understand that the things are a process. It takes time to learn, and it takes time to understand what it takes to build a winning culture, and the community is a big part of that. And when they are bought in, and when they believe, in what can happen, I think it's super important. And in terms of sports, all sports need love when it comes to community involvement. Football in our area is definitely the most popular sport. It's definitely the most well-attended sport. I make it a point myself to try to get out and support other sports at our school. I coach multiple sports, as I mentioned earlier, for a long time, and I know what it's like, coaching a game when there's barely a crowd there versus when there's no place to sit, and it's a big difference for those young people that are involved. So, the message of the community is get out and support. I mean, get high school athletics. It's a huge thing for kids, regardless of what sport that we're talking about. Their relationships, the values, the work ethic, the discipline, all the things that make great citizens. There's a lot of people that are successful had high school sports in their background somewhere, and it's really important.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very true. Very true. Jefe, I'm sorry. The Knicks. Jefe just got upset at me because I said the New Jersey Nets. Tom, what's your advice to the whole community?
Great question, by the way. And all I could think about a little bit was Coach Mathis's description of his season. And I think that's probably as good of an example as we could come up with. But and I'm an athletic director, so I get to work with all of our sports, and really you have to break down silos. You have so many people that just worry about their sport and think that it's them against the world. And really we have to learn to support one another. We have multi-sport athletes. I think football coaches are maybe just a little biased, but we're willing to share and push kids out for track and to do other things. And I will continue to do that as long as I do this. But I think the big thing is to learn to support people. And when you have some success, I feel like at times you almost have to apologize for it. But if you can get into a community where every team is supported, your community gets by. And I thought Coach Hummel said this very well in terms of attending ball games and things like that. We have to break down the silos and all become one is really the big thing.
You're so true. Oh my God, Tom. Fighting that the basketball coach will not let the track coach and the soccer coach will only let the kicker for football. I feel you. You're cheating that kid from dual scholarships of athletic possibilities. I feel you, Tom. So true about those silos. Coach Mathis.
Well, I've been an AD until I stepped down this past year, just over 6 years. And, everybody kept saying football, but it wasn't. My thing, it was going back to what all these coaches were saying, it's supporting every sport. Being an AD, I was harder on football than I was any sport there. I mean, and I really want to show everybody it wasn't about just football. It was about all the other sports. It was about the girls' sports. It was about the boys' sports. It was about soccer. It was about baseball. It was about softball. And, sorry, you get that from me. And so when I did that, I started understanding the community. And sometimes the community can rush to judge on certain things, but they don't have all the facts. And that's where the support comes in at when it comes to the community. And that's something that I've really been trying to work on, because as an AD, you get hit from every which way. And I know Tom understands what I'm talking about, right? And the other coaches as well. Then some of our coordinators, you get hit every which way, but sometimes they don't get the full story. of what's really going on with that sport. So I always wish our community, and they've done a great job about this, let us get all the facts first before we rush to judge. And when it comes to all our coaches supporting one another, I mean, we became a close-knit staff in all sports. We really did, and we supported one another. And I do truly believe that. I try to go as many sports as I can, like these other guys do. But taking care of one another and showing the trust and loyalty towards one another will go a long ways when it comes to coaching, and as well as taking care of one another.
So true. And let me help you guys out there before I hand it over there to Georgia right now, who's back with us. Hey, and I'll talk to you from the principal. 2,550. That was the campus I was at, all right? Had not won a football game. I was tied to the hip, as I said, to the head football coach, right? So I needed to do my part. So, hey, administrator, if your athletes at the middle school are leaving somewhere else that's a winning program, your ass better get down there to those middle schools, to 7th grade basketball, to 7th grade soccer, to 6th grade marbles, to 5th grade hopscotch, whatever it is. You better go there as the feeder principal, if that's the way it works in your area. If you don't want those athletes that were awesome kids in 5th and 6th grade and in 7th and 8th grade to go to other areas, especially now with the money, and now with the money, you and principals are not being taught by Marzano or Sir Giovanni about this. This is not a class that's taught in principal school. You better make sure that those kids stay funneled to your programs, athletic-wise. And they need to be able – I used to walk in there with my big-ass flag, baby, into an elementary with a high school flag, and would sit at the top of the bleachers, and I would make the APs go with me. I don't care if this is your duty, baby. You're coming with me, and we're going to go support 7th grade girls championship basketball. Then that way that kid will remember that an outlier was there to see them. So if you want, athletics is great, your academics will be great, and everything else will follow. So that's for you administrators out there. I'm telling you, it works. That's the formula to make sure that your athletes that have to maintain eligibility will continue that successful track on your campus, because success breeds success, baby. Coach Chaplin, real quick summary. I know that you're doing a big shing-ding down there right now. So real quick, how was the season? How was the championship? And now that and I remember at the very start of the year, I was seeing somewhere, I guess on ESPN, that you were the top high school in the country. You were seeing all these things, all these articles. With all of that stuff, what advice do you have to give to your learning community? Now that you're at the top of the heap, you're the man, what can you tell the community about supporting all athletics? Go.
Well, I start off with the season back in the summer. You know what I mean? We knew we had a good team. We had some talented kids. Honestly, didn't think we were as talented as we were a couple years before or a year or two before. But this group was different in the fact that, you know, back in camp, and we do old school lock-in camp. We, you know, lock the kids in, take their cell phones, and they sleep on the track, they sleep in the weight room, sleep in the, you know what I mean, in the locker room, whatever it is, where coaches can kind of monitor them. And we did some different things. Like y'all talked about working alongside with your coaches in the building. We do a great job of that. But one of my favorite coaches to kind of lab with or clinic with is our girls soccer coach. It's some different things she does with those girls, but it really taught me about connection and connecting with our kids and getting our kids connected with each other. So, you know, we did some different things in camp, and some of my coaches called it Camp Lollipop because we didn't do a whole lot of football. We did a whole lot of team building, just, you know, pickleball, just silly things, but it made them become a family. You know what I mean? And that springboard into the season, and our kids were fighting for each other. They love each other. I mean, all the way down to game 15 is the Wednesday before we play, 2 days before we play the state championship game, and they're like running around playing tag before stretch and flex starts because they love each other. And that's the reason, you know, as we go through the season, it had tough games and a lot of close games. We play a lot of tough teams, but, you know, it was always a point in the third or fourth quarter where I could see them look at each other and, you know, figure out like, hey, man, here's the time. We got to turn it on. We got to, you know, have each other's back and go from there. So, obviously that happened all season long, and in the playoffs, you know, every game except for our first round playoff game was really tight going into the fourth quarter. Like a score, maybe 9 points was the biggest lead we had in any game up into that point. So, but you know, they all knew what time it was and they knew how to lean on each other in that fact. So I mean, it all culminates. We finish it off and we do a great job. And you know, we're crowned, whatever we're crowned and everything. I just told them the biggest deal about this whole thing, you focus on winning the region, focus on winning, you know, the 5 games of the playoffs, and whatever happens after that happens. But the community, I mean, and we had another big thing that happened early in the season for us. We had a brand new stadium, you know what I mean? Everybody heard about, you know, our Philip Beer Stadium, you know, the biggest in the Southeast and all that type of stuff. And the kids, it did give the kids a little bit of juice in the beginning. It was fun to play in a college type atmosphere. So they really used that momentum in the right way, and it all culminated into a, you know, state championship, quote unquote national championship, all at the same time. So it was great. But the community from that side got behind us even more because of the new stadium. But you start winning and getting the national notoriety, just everybody's behind us right now. They love our kids. They know our kids when they show up anywhere I go. I mean, it's kind of like, hey, coach, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, my daughter's funny. She's like, Dad, you know who that was? Like, nah, I really don't. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, and just giving advice to the community, just same thing like these guys said, just you know, be on the same page. You know what I mean? Pull for each other, you know, support each other. I mean, I can't remember who it was, Coach Wilson or Coach Hummel. One of them heard when I came back in, as far as we did this when I was in college. Like, we were not very good my freshman year. My sophomore year, we go into it, and we had our seniors, like one of them had a girlfriend on the field hockey team. One of them had a girlfriend on the soccer team. So they made us go as groups of football players. We were the biggest group on campus, go to see these teams. And when we went to support them, we were loud and boisterous and just, you know, trying to support them. Well, our attendance went through the roof, and we played really well. We went 12-1 that year, but our attendance was way up. So I did the same thing, you know, here. And we've always supported everybody at Buford, but when I took over, it was a dip in it. And we started going to soccer games, started going to, you know, everybody likes basketball games, but all the games that a lot of people didn't like to go to, we would go out and 50 deep at a baseball game. And it made a huge difference as far as the community seeing us out there. And they said, those guys are made the right stuff, so we're going to go out on Friday nights. And when our attendance had dipped, you know, a couple of years before I took over, and then it's just back to where it should be. Just have each other's back, listen to each other, and like I said, support kids. Kids should not have to pick one sport in the 9th grade. I mean, they should not have to pick one sport really in the 10th. To me, if you're a really good baseball player, let's figure that out as you're going into your junior year. You know what I mean? You're about to go to school, you're about to get drafted. That's fine. But like 9th and 10th grade, you should be playing multiple sports, and we support that. I want my kids to play something. I want them to hear another voice. I don't want to look at the ugly face the whole off season. Go see somebody else. It's a good thing, especially when you're on the same page with those coaches. If they're preaching the same message you are, it's a great thing for everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, you know,
Awesome, guys. Last question, and we are going to the Echele Ganas ground. So, Coach Mathis, I'm dying to hear this. So this is my favorite question for you. It's for everybody, but I want to hear yours. So let's look back at your journey, sir. If you could sit down with your first year coaching self, what advice would you give the younger version of you? Coach Humbles can't wait to tell us because he's getting all excited. But Mathis, you're first.
Oh my goodness. I would probably say ask before you do.
Ask before you do. That would be your advice to yourself.
Yes, because you know when you're first starting out, sometimes you may think you know it all. You may know this, you may that, you may know this. But if you ask, sometimes you asking that question keeps you out of a lot of trouble. Especially starting off, because when you're a first year teacher or a first year coach, I mean you think you know it all, but you don't know it all. You don't. So by asking, it keeps you out of a lot of trouble, but at the same time, it keeps you straightforward and in line in which way you should be going. So
awesome.
If I had to ask myself that, I would.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Coach Appling, what about you? Go back to your journey. What would you say to yourself after your first year coaching?
I would say focus on relationships and development, and the wins will take care of themselves. I mean, because the bottom line is, you know, when you get into this profession, we're all competitive. We all want to win. We all have been on being 10-0, 15-0 that first year, and then it comes out the way it comes out. I mean, my most enjoyable year still, I mean, I've had great success here at Buford, but I still remember that 6-5 year, my first year coaching. That's what, kind of got me into this mix. And I still talk to some of the kids on those teams, like on a regular basis. Like a couple of them, two of them, and two of my old teammates from high school showed up to our state championship game and found me on the field after the game. So I didn't know that early. I was lucky and blessed to have a couple guys in my life to tell me that early on in my time at Buford. Not my first year. So I wish I would have known that early, but I just had a good connection with kids and just focus on relationships and relationships in the building, relationships with players. Everything else kind of take care of itself.
Perfect. Coach Wilson, going back to your first year coaching self, what advice would you give yourself?
Very similar to Coach Appling. I think the big thing is to get your eyes off the scoreboard, because there's so much that has to be done in developing people. And as he mentioned, the relationship part, but just focus on developing kids and maximizing kids. And then that winning and losing will take care of itself.
Awesome. So good to be so true. Coach Hummel, let's finish it off, sir.
Yeah, those are great responses. I think that one thing I could add to that, first of all, I agree with everything those guys are saying there. But one thing I could add would be that every communication you make matters with those kids. And I think sometimes as a young coach, if I could go back to my old self, my tongue, or I would have said things a different way or approached things a different way than I do now with my current self, because when you talk about that relationship, your communications can make or break a lot of those relationships. And I think the other part of it would be that everybody on that team, deserves an opportunity to be coached, from the all the way to the back of the roster. They deserve an opportunity to be, and it's important to them just as much as it is to the starters. So there's some things I would say to my initial. The reason I laughed when you said that was because I just thought of that memory, and it's quite the memory. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys have not liked and shared, guys out there, please like it and share it so that everybody can see what wonderful panel we have today.
And we're about to finish right now with the PGP Échale Ganas questions. Ganas, that's the G in PGP. Ganas is only one thing connects all Hispanics. Only one word. Not our food, not the way we talk. Nothing connects us other than one word. Across the world, one word is used as a monolith, which is ganas. That is where you yell at a grandma yells at her grandchild, "Échale ganas, mija," when she's singing mariachi. Or a dad is yelling to his son, "Échale ganas, mijo," when he's playing soccer and he's doing that penalty kick. Ganas is the way. And this is a lightning round, gentlemen. I know some of you were not a lot of warm and fuzzy with it, but don't answer a question you don't feel comfortable with. But it's a lightning round. Real quick, only 9 questions. And we're starting off in Nevada. We're going to move all the way down from West Coast to the East Coast. Hopefully, I know my geography. So it's a lightning round. Real quick. Coach Hummel, give advice to a middle school coach.
Be patient. Very patient with what you're doing, and understand, like I just mentioned, that your communications matter.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
With that, there have been several, but the easiest one to read would just be like the fact, and they were just appreciative and thankful, and that.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
I would send those to my principal, Sean Hall. He does an amazing job with a tough job.
In college football, what university has the best entrance in football?
Tech. Enter Sandman is tough to be. I'm a Metallica fan, so.
Been there, done that. I saw it live. I agree with you. On game night, which song tells you game time, baby?
Wow. I would have to say there's a couple. I really like Coming Undone by Korn, if you've heard that one.
Yes, sir. What is your favorite Arnold movie?
I'm going to give you two. They're a little bit out of the box. So one of them, True Lies. One, Kindergarten Cop.
What was your favorite Halloween costume in elementary, middle school, or high school?
Anything that was made by my mother.
Great answer. Perfect answer, brother. What do you do when it's time to recalibrate, just to find time to yourself and exclude the world?
For me, I seek some solitude and I meditate and pray.
Oh, man. How can people get a hold of you, sir? There's a coach out there in America that wants to learn from a state champion general like you. How can they get a hold of you?
I mean, I don't have X, but I do have, and I can be found on there. And then, our high school contact information as well. And that's me through email. So I do respond to those. Get a lot of them. So
very true. And let me tell you, some of your schools are not very good with that high school, those websites. They're not good. It takes a while to find some people out there. But awesome. Thank you very much. Let's go to Texas, the DeSoto Eagle. Here we go real quick. Give advice to a middle school coach.
Mostly what coach said, be patient, be very patient. If you don't know the rules, ask, especially when it comes to the UIL and our rules and the regulations. So that's what our best advice I give them.
Read a note on an email or text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
Say that again.
Read an email, a text, or note from a parent, a student, or colleague that inspired you with their words.
Was probably be our incoming last year's freshman class. I mean, they all got a poster board and sent it to me and told me, Coach Mathis, we have your back going into this year. And I thought it was really, really heartwarming, but showed a lot of character about those young men.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
I would probably say Marcy Cochran. She does a great job. She's one of our administrative assistants. She does a great job in helping me out, especially the last 6 years.
What is the best college football entrance for a football team?
I'm going with Virginia Tech too, man. That stuff is real good. It's nice. I love it. I love their interest.
On game night, which song tells you it's game time?
I got a feeling Black Eyed Peas. It's just one of those things that I like.
What's your favorite Arnold movie?
I don't have one.
What was your favorite Halloween costume in elementary, middle school, or high school?
Didn't do it, man. I was too busy trying to win games as high school and stuff. Football player.
Gotcha. What do you do when you need to recalibrate, find what do you do to get away from it all?
Man, you know what? I'm going to always pray. I'm always going to pray, but also I love some fishing and I love that golfing.
Oh, man, thank you very much. And how can people get a hold of you and not you haters? Leave that cat alone right there.
You can just email me. I mean, that's the best way to get me. Email.
Love it. We're going East Coast. We're going to Iowa, the Hawkeye State. Give advice to a middle school coach.
I think it's important to realize no job is beneath you. Build relationships, and your biggest job is to make sure they're out for the sport the next year.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspires you with their words.
Yeah, fortunately, there's been quite a few. Most recent, I've got a former player that contacted me, and 45 years old, just finished his MBA, said that family and friends were going to go out to dinner and celebrate. And he said he considered me both. And so I think after all those years, that was a pretty cool deal.
Yes, so I love it. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
Kurt Ritchie, who is the head coach at Cornell College in Mount Vernon, Iowa, he was my assistant when I first started. And a relationship and a friendship started in 1990, and it's that way to this day. And he always keeps the kids first.
Love it. In college football, which university has the best entrance?
Yeah, I do got to stay with the Hawks a little bit when they play at night, and they play back in black, and they have the all black uniforms and the swarm. It's a pretty good deal, but I also like Clemson's.
Love it. On game night, which song tells you it's game time?
Anything from AC/DC, just about. Eye of the Tiger is another one.
What's your favorite Arnold movie?
Terminator 2.
What was your favorite Halloween costume in elementary, middle school, or high school?
Always wore football uniforms, big Kansas City Chief fan, so it's probably one of those years where I wore that. And
What
they
do you
weren't
do?
good then.
Love it. What do you do when you need to recalibrate, refocus on yourself, and just get away from the noise?
Yeah, family, vacation, walk the dog. I'm a new grandpa, so that has worked out very well too.
Love it. How can people get a hold of you, senor?
Email twilson@dowlingcatholic.org. I will answer that.
And Georgia, we finally reached the East Coast. Coach, here we go. Give advice to a middle school coach.
Focus on development. Like Coach said, you're judged more on how many kids show back up and how prepared they are for high school. So just don't focus on the win-loss record or the scoreboard. Just focus on developing kids.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
Man, I read this one probably a couple times a year. It was back in COVID 2020. Emmanuel Malala. He was not a great player, good kid. Everybody loved him, but parents would not let him play in COVID. He sent me a long letter apologizing, you know what I mean? And basically the line that always gets me is he said, I would give anything to be out there with my brothers right now. All these kids are whining, complaining about sprints and about working hard and all that stuff. I told the teams, like, he would give anything to be out here with you guys. So that one always gets me back.
Love it. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Their name and their title.
I would have to say Tyrone Davis, my recruiting coordinator and running backs coach. He's also the head track coach. I mean, he does everything around the school, but he does so much more than anybody gives him credit for, anybody realizes. He's got two phones because the recruiting and stuff, with colleges and calling about our kids and everything. But he's working 24/7, 365 for these kids.
In college football, which university has the best entrance?
Ain't gonna lie, Virginia Tech's really good, but I got to stay with the home team and stay with Georgia. Georgia on a Saturday night when they're playing, Alabama or somebody like that is it's electric.
On game night, which song tells you it's game time, baby?
Oh, no question. In the air tonight, Phil Collins.
Oh, true. What is your favorite Arnold movie?
I would say I had to have two as well: Eraser and Twins. I'm going serious and comedy. Saying.
What was your favorite Halloween costume when you were in elementary, middle school, or high school?
Like Coach Hummel, my mom made mine too, but the favorite I always wanted to be, do karate and do martial arts. I never did, but she made one of those, and that was probably my favorite one. I can't remember how old I was, but I still got pictures of that one.
Love it. When you need to recalibrate, to go back to the solo zone, what do you do, sir?
As I shut my computer off and like Coach said, I'm going on vacation, like this past spring break, I don't answer emails. I just get away from it all, read a book, you know what I mean? Pray, you know what I mean? I spend time with my family for the most part.
Oh, man. And how can people get a hold of you and pick your brain for all that knowledge?
Yeah, I pretty much got everything, but the only thing I really check now is Instagram. So at CoachApp35. I just, my kids are on that more than anything. So that's the one I kind of hover in and do so. But yeah, Instagram.
Love it. Thank you very much, panel, for being. Thank you, everybody out there, because that's what it's all about. Knowledge and leadership and inspiration for our scholars, for the community, and it's all seen today and 100 other past shows, because you know what? We need to learn from each other, because success breeds success, and you are not alone. If you are in Iowa or Nebraska or South Dakota, North Dakota, or in Maine or in Florida or in Alaska, in Hawaii, or anywhere in the 48, we're all doing the same thing. We're all creating leaders, and we're all making sure that this beautiful country of ours becomes the best version of itself as we release those scholars out into the leadership roles that they have. And it's all because of you. So you're not alone. You choose to be alone, because there's tons of opportunities for you to learn, just like the panel tonight, just like the superintendents, the principals, the teachers, everybody out there. So please join us every single last week, because you have this is for free. This is free PD for you. You could put it on pause. You don't have to take notes. You could be scratching your head, whatever it is, or whatever, but become a scholar, just like you ask your scholars to become well-learned and educated. And that's why we need you. Don't forget, you're not alone. This thing connects. This thing connected me with all of these individuals, other than Coach Mathis, because I've talked to him before. But this has connected me with them, and I learned, and I become a better version of myself today, because I heard their stories of success, of being leaders and creating leaders in their communities. So you, my friend, we need you to be part of this dialogue. Like and share it. But most importantly, don't forget to join us next week for episode 102, Y Pluribus Unum. Aquí estamos. How to support our EB students, our LEP students. We need you here to learn how to help out our scholars. Panel, say goodbye. Don't hang up.